Okay, here we are, wanting to dance again on my way home from school. And we're going to talk about the disappointing Apple WWDC event from June 6, 2022. Because guess what? We should have had the Mac Pro because of how it's been 2 years since the Apple Silicon transition began, but we didn't. No Mac Pros. It's ridiculous. What happened to Apple updating things more frequently like they did in the 00s? As I said on a comment to Luke Miani. And then we got the MacBook Air, and we got the MacBook Pro, a relatively boring MacBook Pro that still has the touch bar, a MacBook Pro that still is the old design. And guess what? The MacBook Air didn't come in all the colors and the white bezels that it said it would come in. This is awful. It's disappointing. Luckily, the MacBook Air got the MagSafe, while the MacBook Pro didn't. The new M2 chip came, and it's a little more powerful than the M1, but comparing the voltage to older ARM chips like the ARM Cortex A7 or the A9, it draws a lot more power than it should compared to those, since they were older. And this is a 5nm chip we're talking about. Anyway, no Mac Pro. Disappointing. I was hoping to get a Mac Pro, like a tower style one, like smaller tower than the current Mac Pro, but have 6 expansion slots and 8 RAM slots, interchangeable processors. We need that. We need a desktop, like a consumer class computer that does that. Maybe it would be called the X-Mac. One that's consumer grade and allows for interchangeability. Because consumers need that in a Mac. I don't know what was wrong with 1990s Apple other than their racist marketing that almost destroyed them and almost shut them down. 1990s Apple was great because it was supportive, interchangeable components, the computers were repairable, Apple had great support, and Apple had much more markets to pertain to. Anyway, there are other things in the event like watchOS, iOS, macOS, and iPadOS, all with some improvements. So that's not what I care about. I care about the hardware. We're at the 3-minute mark here. So I've got to say is that this disappointing event is going to give Cherry Computer an edge. This week, hopefully this week, I'm going to be contacting AMD for the newly announced Zen 4 processors. Put in my computers and make these computers better, like those, like more modern, much newer component versions of Apple's 1990s lineup. Much like how it was better back then. And these processors will be altered and tweaked a little to be better. And there are some good new features in iOS 16. Can't remember them, but they were good. So that's going to be it. Bye.